So, about 3 years ago, the last time I was going to try to make a review series on Stranger Things was when Stranger Things 4 was coming out. Specifically, Volume 2, because they had split the fourth season into 2 volumes, while we had 7 episodes for Volume 1 and got the last 2 in Volume 2. But yeah, these were the thumbnails I had made for the review series, and I did technically film these videos, but I eventually took them down because I was not happy with them. Especially since I was filming them at a cabin because I went camping with my grandparents by the time Volume 2 of Season 4 had dropped. But with the final season right around the corner, now is the perfect time to properly redo this review series. So with that out of the way, hello everyone, welcome back to another review on the channel. So I'm in rush to get these videos out because we are 4 days away from Volume 1 of Stranger Things 5 dropping on Netflix. Now before I discuss my thoughts with Season 1, I know I put up a poll where, should I make a video where I review the first 2 seasons and then 3, 4 separately? And most of y'all voted yes, but I honestly wanted to make these videos separate, review each season separately. Now, the reason I had asked if I should review the first 2 seasons in one video was because I felt like all the notes I'd taken down on my notebook, on my thoughts with the Season 1 of Stranger Things, it would have ended up being like a short video, but I doubt this will be short, but let's make it at least 15 minutes at best. I don't know. We shall see how it goes. Because right now I'm having like so many outtakes. It's going to be a pain in the ass for me to edit this tonight. Actually, speaking about tonight, where the heck are Dan and Lillian at? We got like 8 more episodes to catch up with Stranger Things since last night we watched the last 2 episodes of Season 3 and the first episode of Season 4. And I had scheduled how long it would take us to finish Season 4 and we'd be literally caught up a day before it drops. But yeah, I'm hoping to finish my review series before Volume 1 of Season 5 drops on Wednesday, November 26th, along with a hype trailer that I should have time to post on Wednesday, either Tuesday or Wednesday next week, because the first 4 episodes of Stranger Things 5 isn't gonna drop immediately on Netflix at midnight, like how the first time Stranger Things 4 Volume 1 had dropped. Because they're not gonna drop the season right away. They're gonna drop at 7 p.m., which, you want proof? Here's proof right here. But as you can see, I am all decked out for the final season of Stranger Things, as I have my Dustin hat that I've had when Stranger Things 3 was out. I have my Hellfire Club shirt that I don't remember exactly where I got it from, but I know I got this for when Season 4 was out. And now I got myself a nice, sweet bat with nails. Note, this is fake. It's made out of foam, but it still hurts if you hit hard enough. But yeah, I got this bat on eBay, and this is not exactly the same kind of bat from Stranger Things. This is a Spirit Halloween prop, which I'm glad I found this on eBay. This was worth the 30 bucks because it is close enough to looking like Steve's bat from the first 2 seasons of Stranger Things. But yeah, I'm happy to have this in my possession, but it sucks I can't bring this home with me because this thing's a weapon. Well, it's not a legitimate weapon, but how am I going to take this to the airport? I'd have to mail this somehow. Well, I guess you're going to be chilling back in my brother's closet with our other 2 Tridents that I got for when Aquaman 2 was coming out 2 years ago. But anyways, enough chit-chat. Let's discuss my thoughts on Season 1 of Stranger Things. Now, Season 1 is about to be 10 years old come by next July, but I kind of joined late to the party because I didn't watch Stranger Things until when Season 2 was released. And what caught my attention with Stranger Things? Oh, it was this Super Bowl ad that caught my attention.
Look on my ego.
You like on my ego?
I love
I thought this was like a mature Ghostbusters series because the kids were wearing Ghostbusters costumes when in context, that was their Halloween costumes, and this was not a Ghostbusters mature series. This was a totally different series for adults. But hey, it's crazy to know that Finn Wolfhard would have ended up being in 2 Ghostbusters movies later after Stranger Things. But yeah, that's what caught my attention with Stranger Things. It was that Super Bowl ad for Season 2 that was going to be released later in October of 2017. Now, if I remember correctly, I believe it took me 1 or 2 nights to finish Season 1. But I do remember watching it on my tablet on a school night. And I know there's been discussions about which season's the best, whether it's Season 3 or 1, but first time watching Season 1, oh, it left an impact on me because after I had binge-watched all 8 episodes, I immediately became a fan of this. Now, I did try watching Season 2, but I only had watched the first 2 episodes at my mom's friend's house on her computer, and I couldn't finish the rest of the season until like either Christmas 2017 or 2018. And between that time gap, I was spoiled for how the season ends, specifically with a character death, but we'll discuss that when I talk about season 2. But if I recall correctly, I believe I finished watching season 2 on my Nana's tablet. I know that I was at her house around Christmas time. It's just I can't recall if this was Christmas 2017 or 2018. And if it were Christmas 2018, then my god, why have I waited an entire year just to try to... Oh wait, I think I know why. Because I was a kid at the time, and I didn't have much access to Netflix, mainly because of login issues. But whether I had finished season 2 in Christmas 2017 or 2018, I was fully caught up for the third season that wouldn't come out until 4th of July of 2019. But anyways, now that I've discussed my thoughts on how I got into Stranger Things, what are my general thoughts with the first season? So the first time I was binge watching the first season, I remember it being a total blast for me because season 1 is freaking fantastic. The first episode sets up the disappearance of Will Byers as he is missing throughout the entire season. And it's basically a mystery of trying to figure out who or what took him and where the heck he's at. But what honestly makes this first season special to me, besides its story, characters, and horror elements, is Joyce freaking Byers. Everyone here was great, especially the kids, who are now adults, which is still crazy to think about, but Winona Ryder deserves all the flowers because she acted her ass off this whole season. Probably playing the most badass mother I've seen because her character goes through hell and back trying to find her son. Honestly, the Byers family go through hell when they spend about 8 episodes trying to find Will Byers. Now, speaking about other characters, I really love spending time with these kids that are searching for their best friend Will, but stumble across Eleven, who's got superpowers which would involve telekinesis, telepath, and psychometric abilities. I'm not sure I pronounced that last one correctly, but along with the ability to open and manipulate portals to the Upside Down and enter a void for remote viewing. I'll say this, I got really obsessed with Mike and Eleven being a thing when we get to see their first kiss in the season finale, and I was so upset about what happened to her at the end. Thankfully, she was coming back in season 2, and I remember watching the official trailer for it that revealed her being alive at the end, which made me really happy, but back to topic. Now, I don't know when this hate began for Mike Wheeler, because for whatever reason, fans just disliked him in between season 3 and 4, but I like him enough. As for Dustin, he's basically the comedic relief, while Lucas is honestly a badass, especially when he's determined to find Will, because that is true friendship right there. But both Lucas and Dustin are equally MVPs in their own way. Now, as for the adults, Joyce Byers owns this first season by being a badass mom, despite having people think she's crazy, especially her oldest son, until he believes her later on. I really liked Jonathan Byers, who's the older brother for Will, and liked the little arc that Nancy Wheeler goes through when her best friend Barb goes missing in the 3rd episode, but Nancy is the older sibling for Mike. And man, I need to make up my mind on who's my favorite character in the series, because I'm stuck in between Jim Hopper, who's police chief in Hawkins, and Steve Harrington, who, I'll admit, I disliked that guy first time watching until he won our hearts at the end when he goes up against the Demogorgon. But rewatching season 1, I've come to realize that Steve was never a full-on douchebag. Sure, he did some things that we didn't like, for example, breaking Jonathan's camera for stalking and taking pictures. Okay, that maybe was a valid reason of him. But the point is, he's sort of misunderstood, which I'm not sure if that's the right word I'm looking for to describe Steve Harrington. But originally he was supposed to be a douchey bully, and the Duffer Brothers were planning on killing him off at the end of the season. Until Joe Curry's charm won them over, so they changed their minds and let Steve live, which was maybe the best decision they made because he would become a fan favorite for the rest of the series. Until they possibly kill him off in the final season, which I hope to God he survives to the end. We've come this far. Which might be pointless to say considering that the actor was happy with his character's ending. So he might live till the end. But we won't know for sure until New Year's Eve. But now that I've mentioned some important characters I liked, let's talk about some characters I really disliked. I would include Steve since he was one of them, but I'm not going to count him into the list. I really dislike the bullies that kept giving our main character shit, especially making fun of their friend Will being dead and happy in Gayland. But I'm glad Eleven taught them a lesson for messing with them. As for Mr. Byers, who's no longer in the family picture, man, what a total scumbag he was. I disliked him the most, but not as much as I hated Dr. Brenner's Guts, who is a secondary villain in Season 1 besides the Demogorgon being the main villain. But the bad men are out searching for their missing lab rat, which would be Eleven, of course. I really hated the bad men in this first season. Now, if I had to mention any negatives for Season 1, I can't think of any really, because this show was just absolutely absolute cinema. But jokes aside though, no, this first season was really great, and I loved the vibes of the show as it takes place in fall of 1983. But my god, is the score so good in the series. I love it so much. Besides having everyone look for Will Byers and Demogorgon, specifically Jonathan and Nancy, on a side mission, we do get a backstory to Millie Bobby Brown's character Eleven, but there's more to her that won't be revealed until season 4, as we get breadcrumbs about her in season 2, when she's on her side mission. But back to topic, I overall enjoyed this first season of Stranger Things. I'm back and forth in between an 8.5 or a 9.5 out of 10 rating. Now, I'll say this right off the bat, my rating for the entire series as a whole is an overall 10 out of 10. I just give a different rating for each season, but for the entire series, oh no, it's a 10 out of 10. Because I freaking love this show to death. Now, let's discuss my thoughts with the Demogorgon and the Upside Down. Yeah, I liked the design, but first time seeing what it looked like, its face looked like a flower every time it opens its mouth. So I can't help but think that the Demogorgon's mouth looks like a flower sometimes, but I'm really fascinated with the Upside Down, which is a reflection of our dark world, but dark and greedy, if that makes any sense. But I really liked both the Demogorgon and the Upside Down. But it blows my mind to find out that this was intended to be a limited series. Now, I was sort of aware about that, but while researching, I find out that this show was intended to be an anthology with a new story each season. Now, the Duffer Brothers ended season 1 with a cliffhanger where Will is able to see the Upside Down in case Netflix wanted to greenlit a second season. And the show was a big hit where the Duffer Brothers decided to continue the story with the same characters. And thank God they did, because I don't know how I would have been okay with that ending. But imagine if they didn't continue the story with the same characters and went with the original plan by making each season a self-contained story, but also an anthology series. No wonder this was titled Stranger Things, and it blows my mind to find out about this. But this first season was phenomenal. Huge shoutouts go to Joyce Byers, Eleven, Dustin, and Hopper. I really loved all the main characters we followed throughout this entire first season that would end up coming together at the very end, but the best part about this entire series is just the kids themselves. And I really love the soundtrack and the vibes of the show as it takes place in the 1980s. There's honestly just so much to love about season 1 of Stranger Things, and I'm so glad Netflix greenlit a second season where the Duffer Brothers continued this story with the same characters, because with the way this first season ends, this was just the beginning. And with that being said, that is my review on Stranger Things Season 1 that premiered on Netflix July 15th, 2016. I'm real happy that I got to do a redo for this review, because the last time I was trying to do a review series for when Volume 2 of Stranger Things 4 was coming out, I was not happy about that, and thank God that we were getting one more season just so I could redo this review series. But now that I've reviewed Season 1, I've got 3 more to review, which will be Stranger Things 2 to 4. So definitely let me know your thoughts, comments down below on the first season. How was your experience first time watching it? And definitely stay tuned for some Stranger Things content. Besides my review series and hopefully a hype trailer for Stranger Things 5, I might do like a vlog video of me, my brother, and Lillian getting prepared to watch the final season together. But I know a while back that I had mentioned that I was going to only get me and my brother's reaction to the series finale, but I've decided to hit the screw up button and try to get all of our reactions for all 8 episodes. Shall I succeed? We shall find out. At least I won't be using Twitch for this, because ain't no way I'm repeating last time where I lost footage from me and my brother's reaction to the Season 4 finale. But with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed, and as always, I'll see y'all for my Season 2 review. Peace out.